All right, boys, it is 11/7, November 7th. All right, last night's feature presentation was Back to the Future Part 2, 1989. This stars Michael J. Fox again. It's Marty McFly, Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown, Emmett Doc Brown. You have Thomas F. Wilson returning as Biff in 4 roles, if you count them. Biff Tannen. Leah Thompson is back, playing multiple roles as, this time she's just Lorraine, it's her credit. Lorraine Baines McFly Tannen. Jeffrey Wiseman is the new George McFly in this one. You do not have Crispin Glover in this. There was a falling out, depends on who you ask. According to the director and producer, it was he was asking for too much money. According to Crispin Glover, it was a creative difference about a message at the end, the way they did a message at the end of the first one about wealth, about like how the lesson is that you get wealthy at the end. Elizabeth Shue is Jennifer in this one. Not Claudia Wells is gone. I think she had a sickness or something. She couldn't reprise the role, but Elizabeth Shue does a pretty good job as Jennifer in this one. James Tolkien is back as Principal Strickland. Eat lead, Strickland. You have Biff's hangers-on all returning. Billy Zane, Casey Sazmako, and J.J. Cohen is the other one. Now, I didn't mention yesterday the 3. So this is going to be the last you see of these 3 guys. So they're in part 1 and 2, but they're not in 3. You have Al White in this. He's the black guy who, in the alternate 1985, that comes in with the baseball bat when Marty comes into his daughter's room. He thinks it's his house. So that's Al White, who's an Airplane. Flea of the Red Hot Chili Peppers is in this as Needles. You're going to see him in 3 as well. Elijah Wood also is in this from, what was he, like, not Harry Potter, but like Lord of the Rings. Elijah Wood. He's one of the guys playing the video game in the Cafe 80s. He's a little kid in this movie. You have Lisa Freeman is in this movie. Okay, so Lisa Freeman was in the first part. I didn't mention her, but I just realized this today. Lisa Freeman as Babs. So Babs, I'm almost certain, is one of the friends of Lorraine back in 1955. The brunette girl. She has like 2 friends who are usually with her. You see her in this one in the 1985 when she's walking down the street looking at her dance gown that she just got with the girls, and they're oohing and ahhing at it. Lisa Freeman was in Friday the 13th, the final chapter, the year before, as the nurse in the morgue. Remember, Axel, you're the Super Bowl of self-abuse. That girl is just the first one killed by Jason in that movie. Very attractive, but I can't believe I never recognized. I thought she looked familiar all these years. So Lisa Freeman is in this. Buck Flower returns. George Buck Flower, of course, who co-wrote Drive-In Massacre. He's in this as the bum. His name is Red. I don't know if he's credited as Red, but Marty always calls him Red. You see him in the alternate 1985. And finally, I have to mention Joe Flaherty, the great Joe Flaherty. Rest in peace, as the heckler. He was the heckler in Happy Gilmore. Yeah, Jackass! That's where I get that for calling you guys Jackass, or Jackass J. Joe Flaherty is excellent, and this is the Western Union guy at the end with the letter. He's really funny. I guess I lost the bet. All right, so Yukon yesterday in the room was talking about how this is like his favorite of the 3. It's probably if I had to choose a least favorite, this would be my least favorite. I used to like it a lot, and then I've gone up and down over this over the years. It's the most elaborate one. It took a lot of work. It takes a lot of careful writing to get this thing right, to make it really an airtight time travel movie with all these different things going on. So it's really incredible in that regard. I mean, you got 3 time periods you have 2015, you have 1985, you have 1980, you have 1955, and you also have an alternate 1985. So it kind of an alternate 1955. So it's really like they're really going over all these overlapping all these different time periods, and then so it's pretty credible in that regard. But so this is the only one of the three where I can point out like parts that I didn't like. Okay, so like the whole futuristic thing, like when they're in 2015, not the whole thing, but most of it. So starting at the 80s cafe thing, where they go into the 80s cafe, and then the bank robbing thing, where Biff's chasing them, or Biff's grandson is chasing them, and on the hoverboard. I don't like that entire sequence, and that's a pretty long sequence. It's very hard to get to do future, in any movie, because you never win. But they actually nailed some things, and I know this has been talked about a lot. But they called quite a few things, like the flat screen TVs. That was never in anyone's mind in 1989 when this was made. Voice technology, like talking to and making channels and other things, do things. Video, like the video game in the 80s cafe, it's Wii like not using your hands. That's pretty cool. They called that. The Cubs winning the World Series was very close. They won in 2016. And calling that there would be a Miami team. Now it was Florida Marlins, but then it changed to Miami Marlins. That's pretty impressive. And the whole thing about 80s nostalgia being something that we would do by then, and that's true. So that's pretty cool. So like the whole like 80s cafe scene and the robbing of the bank. I don't like Marty's son's Michael J. Fox's portrayal of the simpy characters and the squeaky voice of Marty's son. I don't like that. He's just really like a wuss. I mean, I suppose that's part of the story, but I didn't like him at all. And how Marty got kind of embarrassed himself in the thing with the video game. He's not cool anymore. So I didn't like that at all. I did like his house, the scene in there with the family and the grandparents coming over. They're pushing 80 by now, Lorraine and George, of course, with the Jeffrey Wiseman as George this time. So I liked some of the stuff in the future. I liked them going into the house, getting Jennifer, all that. Marty getting fired. That was a funny scene with Flea. I thought it was good that they waited and they didn't show what happened in the past, what Biff did when he stole the time machine. I thought that was pretty cool. But I think there's a deleted scene where they show the death of Biff when he comes back in 1985 into 2015, because he would have been dead for some reason. And I think that would have been a powerful thing to include, that where they show him having a heart attack. You can look this up, I think, online, but I think it would have been better to show that whole thing. What else? Because it's already got a dark overtone, the film, and that's I like that. I like movies with dark overtone, especially when it's a part, a middle section of a trilogy, like Empire Strikes Back is the best one of the three, and it's hard to get that middle thing to be good. But and this is really good. I really like this movie. It's an incredibly done movie. I mean, the dark overtone, like the graveyard, that's a great scene. I love everything about the alternate 85. I think it's really cool. It's it really presents the whole conflict of what they have to do, and I love the Doc explaining the paradox on the board, Marty feeling guilty over it's my fault, that's all in the past, I mean the future, whatever. I like that line. And then the whole thing with the Biff Towers, like the Trump Tower looking thing is really good. This movie, the part one focused on the parents. Part two was about Marty, but the guy who really steals this is Thomas F. Wilson. I think he is awesome in this. I think he really carries this movie. he's playing like all these different roles, and he's nailing it in all of them. Now he's really over the top, and he's really hamming it up, especially as alternate 85 Biff. And I love alternate 85 Biff. Sit down, just like laughing at the Eastwood. Great flick. For some reason, it kind of reminds me of like how DPCX would talk. Some of DPCX's rants, like I picture him talking like Biff in the alternate 85. It's a compliment, by the way. But I love the return to the 50s is outstanding. That whole thing, like I said, it took a lot of work and writing to get that right, and it attracts a curious viewer to start to really pay attention to what's going on, like the different things. Because this movie works the best when it's in back in the 50s, because you have the parallel universes working. You're catching moments from the first movie, and you're seeing it through the eyes of the Marty who came back, and you're seeing okay, he can't be seen by this guy, and he can't be seen by himself, and it's really cool seeing it from different angles. So I think it's really awesome the way they do that back in the 50s. I love the Biff and old Biff encounters, like the old Biff talking to himself, giving him the almanac, explaining how it's going to help him, and hating his younger self, like just loathing his younger self of how stupid he was, and he's like getting all ticked off at him. But that's really the best part of this movie. The chase scene at the end in 1955 is awesome too, and the way they did the ending, I think is incredible, because it's such a great cliffhanger. I mean, if you've never seen part 3, you watch the end of part 2, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, how in the world is he going to get back to, given the circumstances? So I think overall it's a great movie, but if I had to pick the one that I'd liked the least, it would probably be this one. Simply because there's more in it there's a pretty long part in there that I dislike. Okay, and then not having Crispin Glover also hurt this one a little bit. Okay, so that's that's a strike against it. But good movie. Check it out. Last night's feature presentation, Back to the Future Part 2, 1989. It was a 4-year wait. They did an excellent job on this one. It's a great sequel. So, all right, boys, that's my review of Part 2, 1989. Cafe 80s, Michael Jackson, Ronald Reagan. All right, guys.